April is many things, and one of the things that April has been for a long time is National Poetry Month. And we've gathered here today to honor that month of April, to honor poetry. So here we're going to read you some of our work and hope you enjoy it. I'm Hank Slangal. I live here. I've been writing poetry a long time. I guess almost anybody that's 78 has been doing something, has been doing it for a long time. My first poem that I remember I wrote in grade school about Thanksgiving and the Pilgrims and all that kind of thing, and everybody told me I'd copied it, which was a kind of good feeling. I have a couple of poems about birds. This first poem has a footnote that's about 3 times as long as the poem. Last fall I was driving down Highway 47 towards McMinnville, and I encountered a big flock of starlings, and it was such an amazing visual experience that I wrote a poem about it. And it's called Crowds of Starlings. 1,000 starlings weaving round and down, a flowing hairnet blown by inner squall. Across November's stubbled fields of brown, ink black knots against the twilight red of fall. They wheel and plunge like some ethereal thing, and then sweep the ground towards me and soar as one aloft in shafts of light with outspread wing, translucent choirs limned by rubied sun. A rush of wimpling wings and downward surge pursues the choir flapping in a scatter. A sudden shift of wings and instant verge, and I'm aghast in crowds of starling chatter. If wind hovers, then vulgar starlings too are instruments of heaven breaking through. I should add that there's a little footnote here. The reference to wind hovers is from Hopkins' poem by the same name, in which he is amazed at the brilliance and majesty of a peregrine falcon mastering the wind, and he sees in this a religious understanding. The other bird poem is an old one, and it was printed in the Lyric last fall. It's called Cormorant. I came across you lying in the sand at the sea rack line of wet debris. Wild sea skimmer brought at last to land, and you have brought me sinking to my knee. Your black sleekness slimed, your fierce head hanging on a proud stiff neck that lies now twisted, limp along your body, dead. Forever folded the wings that flailed the skies. A cold red hole defiles your once warm breast, mankind's unkindest mark. Do you now wing beneath eternal cerulean skies, blessed for this your cruel loss? Why do I sing of flight, old cormorant, and of your death, and feel a tremor in my measured breath? Then I put out a little chapbook all by myself a couple of years ago, and I got a poem in here that was published in a little magazine that comes out of Ocean Park, Washington, called Edge DGZ. And it's called City, not Downfall, but Dawnfall. City Dawnfall, like in Daybreak Dawnfall, okay. Grime-dewed cathedral lifts fire-hatted spires up. From up light falls on all, falls down as from a cup, spread across the lightened sky, tipped topside down. Dilutes the syrup dark laid thick upon the town. In fissures, runnels, gutters, casements, trickles slow. Patterns splash on tiles and leaves, plunging low. Cut bold designs on public pediment and door, then floods the avenue with light as on a floor, swept, mopped, waxed, buffed for the honored guest, idiot savant, ape god, lovely lewd, curse blessed. Now the early churly chiming of workday grind of wheels, shouts, feet, engines, in dust, all to find a way safe, fed, dressed, housed, a continuance sought of night's dream and scream puzzled trance. I will read one more. It's called Grandpa Yawns Whispered. My grandpa was an immigrant from Czechoslovakia, and he didn't speak a word of English, and I didn't speak any Czech, but this is a true story. Grandpa Yawns Whispers. In 1938, Nebraska soil at last embraced Grandpa Jan. That same unquenchable, ored sandhill soil, which, since he'd arrived penniless from Sudetenland, had rebuffed his seeds and tears. I was 8, wondering why in the late afternoon he lay abed in the small poor house, seeming to sleep, snoring with terrifying stentorian rails, sledged by that midnight stroke, outlandishly dying. 60 years later, I flew east 1,000 miles seeking him, drove a rented car down Q Street in South Omaha, and tried to remember the rough brick cobbles, now tarmacked, the prairie dirt banks along the dirty 30s street, now gone, but able only to remember his Adam's apple straining as he tried in great gasps to suck in life, his sharp nose shadowing the yellowed paper on the bedroom wall, Grandma Rosina stoically mumbling her rosary. I drove past St. John's Catholic Cemetery, for in some depth whispers seemed to counsel, "No, not here, Jindrich, farther on." This, I think, from Grandpa Jan, now speaking in tongues, who never while alive uttered to me one English word, but only Česky, nor understood my childish foreign palaver, as he sat in the dim kitchen, quiet and weary as poor earth, sluiced his black-boiled coffee loudly from a saucer, and spoke with my father in a voice that had no child in it. And just beyond 38th, I turned into the iron gates of St. Mary's, aware as a deer entering a meadow, scanning fields of stones. I veered right in the summoning lane, then left, then drove straight, then stopped, turned off the engine, opened the door. Over here, Yendrich, over here. Slightly left between the stones trod I, and stood before Hank Slangal again after half a century. Grandpa Jan, many times I've studied an old photo and wished, not knowing you have wished the same. Yak Samash. Yak Samash is Czech for how are you? The only Czech I know.